Hi, I'm Neil Eckstein. I'm here in my studio at Fox Run in Massachusetts, and I'm going to put a Go Audio pickup into this Taylor 912 CE 12 fret, replacing the ES2 system that came with it. I thought I'd do a little playing, just simple stuff. I'm not a fancy player. And the guitar is running directly into a Great River mic pre 2NV, so it's a Neve style preamp. And I'm going to be turning off the microphone you're hearing when I do the demo, recording directly into Pro Tools. So let's just kind of a bass line. I'm going to do the same progression with a pick now. Now let's try something with a little bit of finger picking. So I will say these are Elixir medium light sets, so these are not new strings, but they're not awful old either. And I will be changing the strings as part of the setup and balance for the ES2. The people at Go Audio are very good about keeping up with tracking. It came by UPS. They called me or emailed me to make sure I'd received it and let me know if I had any questions about the installation, that I should feel free to call them. I thought about taking this to a local luthier, but it's a fairly straightforward installation, and I've done installations like this before. Had a studio for 25 years. I've done all my own wiring. So there is one part that requires drilling a couple of holes under the saddle and the bridge. And they've got excellent installation videos on their website that show it step by step. When I asked if this was something I should be attempting on my own, they said, well, of course, it depends on your level of skill. But they said the main thing is be very careful with the clips attaching the cables. You use the same battery box that you have now. So if you've got one of those Taylor batteries that let you check humidity and battery life and that kind of thing, none of that changes. You're just going to take the wire off the current ES2 and attach it to the new pickup. But once I've got it done, I will try to reproduce what I played for you at the beginning, and we'll see how much difference it actually makes. So the strings are off, and the first step is going to be to get the ES2 out of here. And you need a hex wrench. They provide you with a number of items here, so I think you may get everything you need here. So the first thing I need to do is get the old one out of here. So you pop the knobs off. I assume they just pull off. Maybe easier said than done. Well, they definitely don't just pop off. There we go. They just pull up, straight up. I believe this is what they provide you to get these off. Requires a little bit of force. They put these on pretty tight. Loosen this one up a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't just fall right in. It has some cables attached to it. So now I'm reaching in to hold the pickup. So I was not able to get these cables out of this battery clip without removing the clip. So I'll have to get some stickum. I think you're supposed to use one of these again. So now I've got the piece out, and I think that's really the only way you could do it. And then there's a little tab you push down and it comes right off. They do give you a clip, but I think you're supposed to be using the same one for the battery cable. So I'm opening that up. It's a fairly soft metal. And this is going to get used again. This may be attached in a second location. Yeah, it's attached to the other clip there. So I'm going to call them and find out if I'm supposed to be trying to reuse these clips. This one I'm able to more easily open up with my fingers. Hi, Paul. We've spoken. This is Neil Eckstein. I'm putting in the ES2 replacement system.
This morning.
I'm good.
Sure.
So I've got the pickup out. One of the existing clips in there, when I tugged on it to try to open it, just popped off. So I'm assuming I can just put that back on with some double stick tape or something.
Sure. Is that one of the original Taylor
Yeah.
clips you're talking about?
Yes.
The only one you really have to undo is the one in the upper bout, you know.
Yeah, that's the one that came. That's the one that came off.
Yeah.
So
You can just, do you have any high quality double-sided tape? I mean, the stuff I use around here, if I need to fix something like that, is like, I use like outdoor, very high bond 3M double-sided tape, which is like, you know, like a millimeter thick. It's black. It has very high adhesion rate to it.
I could probably get some from Amazon. So,
or the hardware store.
yep. The reason I'm calling is I'm trying to get the pickup out. And
Oh,
And
the original pickup.
yeah, and you said use a dowel. I don't have anything that seems to be the right size. I wanted to find out if one of these tools.
You got a drill bit? You got like a 3/16" drill bit?
Sure. Yes. So you put it directly on top of the hex screw.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you can sort of tap on all three gently to get them to start to move, and then drive the center one down.
Okay.
They'll come right out. And the other thing you can do is loosen all the hexes so that the compressors are retracted. They can kind of be pushed out a little bit far into the crisp. I don't know if you noticed when you pulled the pickup out, they can be real tight to get out, and that's because the tensioners are against the bone.
Yep. So, all right, I got something. And give it a whack.
Just give it a couple.
Yep. There they go. They're going. All right. Done.
And it just taps right out easily, right? No
Yep.
deal.
Yep. There it goes. All right. The drill bit worked a charm. So now I've got the old pickup and the cable, and great.
The cable just plugs into the preamp. You should be able to reach in there and unplug it and just pull it out.
Already did that.
If you already removed the knobs and the
yeah, I already took that out. So now basically I'm ready to do the next parts.
all you have to do is the thing to do next is drop the drill guide in and drill the 2 holes through the bridge slots.
All right. Now where do those holes get drilled? Do they get drilled in the bottom of the saddle slot, or am I enlarging?
They go through the top. No, they go through the top, through the bottom of the saddle slot, and there's a yellow plastic drill guide, and there's a drill bit. And that drill guide should fit the slot in your Taylor. You
Yep.
slip it in there,
Got it.
and it should center. If it's not centered, you'll have to center it. There's a notch, a centering notch in the top of the drill guide. You want that to be equal between the two, the G and the D string.
Okay.
Properly. It's really not that hard to do.
No, it looks pretty straightforward now that I'm seeing all the stuff. I looked at the diagrams, but a lot of it didn't make any sense because I wasn't actually holding the parts. So I just got off a phone call with Paul McGill, who I believe may have designed these. He at Go Acoustic Audio. And he walked me through some of the finer points. I called him because I was unsure how to remove the ES2 pickup, and he suggested, since it says use a dowel, I didn't have anything small enough, but what you want is something you can just lightly whack on. He suggested just getting a 3/8" drill bit, setting it up there and just tapping, and the pickup fell right in. You don't need to remove the hex screws, but it does help to loosen them. And the next step now is going to be to drill the 2 holes for the cables to come up in the saddle. They provide you with a guide, but there's a little bit of play in this guide, and you want to center this notch between the D and the G strings as precisely as possible. So I'm going to be doing that now. He also said that they provide the drill bit, but remount these holes in this first so it doesn't catch when you're doing it. So I'm going to do that now. And yeah, I'm getting some, a little bit of plastic is coming away. So just to be sure that this drill bit doesn't get hung up in this, just kind of go up and down with your drill, make sure it goes loose without widening so much it's no longer accurate, of course. All right, so a little bit of yellow mesh just kind of came off there. So I dropped this into the slot, and there's a little bit of back and forth play going on there. Let me see if I can get my camera a little closer here. All right, so I've got a little bit of back and forth play here. And in my case, I want this guide to be as close to the low E string as possible. So I'm going to actually tape this thing down so it doesn't move on me. Because the main thing is you not only you want it centered, but these two holes have to be this distance apart, or it's not going to line up with the saddle. So I'm just using some painter's tape here to secure this. And I'm also going to put some painter's tape on either side of it just to make sure I don't have a mishap and gouge the bridge here. All right, so now I am ready to drill the holes. I'm putting some tension on it to make sure it stays as close to me as possible, because that's what I want. And there I go. That's hole one drilled. And hole two drilled. And if you're like me, when you do that, you'll have this rather tight feeling, like, don't mess this up. And I'm assuming there's now some yellow and wood down in the guitar. We'll make some effort to see what we can shake out here. Or maybe a little vacuum cleaner. Not really seeing much of anything. It's a fairly small hole. And they actually now are connected to the three holes for the Taylor pickup. All right, it's time to put the cables onto the saddle. And honestly, this is the part that probably you can mess it up so that the whole thing is a disaster. And he really warned me about being very careful with these cables so that you don't bend the ends or try to force them in. And they give you an extra one. So the saddle has a gold and black side, and that goes towards the bridge pins. And then it's got a kind of a brownish side, and that's going to go towards the sound hole. And I need to make sure that the clip is up so that you don't force this in. And that says preamp. Is make sure you're not sliding this above the connector. It needs to actually go into the white. It's very easy to just slide this in between the connector and this brown piece, and that of course will do you no good. So you may want to get some magnification. Be sure that the tabs are open. And this is where you don't want to force these. And I'm going to actually double check and be sure this tab is open, because I'm having trouble with the one on the high string side. So I'm going to put this in through here and make sure that that tab is pushed down. And you can actually see the pokey thing come out the other side if they're down. Okay, it's definitely down now. And pickup side going into the white slot. And there it goes. And then you take the screwdriver looking end of this and push that black tab towards the we'll call it the bone side of the saddle. Push that forward. And now these two clips are holding this in. And the next step is to put them through the holes you drilled, being really careful that these ends don't kind of kink up in the holes, and they should go down easily. Also, what you want to do is mark the 1, 2, 3 side with a marker or something so you know which of these two cables goes to which end. So I'm going to go get something to mark that with. All right, there we go. I've marked the word preamp on the 1, 2, 3 side. And now this drops into the holes. These are very fragile cables, I can tell. Oh, before I do that, I am skipping a step. It's kind of an important step. You have to plug up the old holes for the old pickup. This just goes in from underneath and lines up with the holes where you took out the ES2 pickup. A few shavings are popping out of here. And then you just press this so it lines up back with the top of the... I'm just going to take that drill bit one more time. I'm going to take it out of here. And just be sure these holes are clean, so I'm not trying to force this cable into it. I am wondering if I was supposed to drill those holes after I put this piece in. So it looks like it's not quite lining up. Yes, I did that out of order, and it's important that you do it in order. Do the plugs for the old pickup before you do this, because it probably takes a little bit off that plug too. Yeah, the holes are much cleaner now. So don't do what I did. Make sure you put the plug in first. And now I'm going to feed these in. And that goes right in with no difficulty now. And there we are, the saddle, the new saddle The pickup and microphone are installed. They have supplied a cable guide for the pickup cables. And it's got a double stick tab on it. All right, there's a white piece of paper and a tab that has the stick part. Now the diagram, I would think this could go in kind of that way, but they're actually showing the in-out opposite of the way that I would think it would go. But I'm going to do what the instructions say. So you bend this around it, and I'm going to feed the two cables through. So far, this has not been difficult. Most of it has been just not understanding the pieces involved and not wanting to force anything. If I had to do another one of these, I could probably do it very quickly now. Put the saddle pickup cables out of the sound hole, run them through the cable guide in the direction shown in the image. Am I actually supposed to install the cable guide? Let's go check that out. I see my confusion about the direction is because this is going to get flipped over. This is actually getting installed not in the bottom of the guitar, but in the top of the guitar. It says that. And that feels pretty good. All right, so now I have the pickup mounted on this temporary base. And it looks like I did it upside down. Yep. Yeah, I did it upside down. So I'm making all these mistakes, and I'm going to leave these in the video so that you don't make the same mistakes I do. Now I got to get these knobs off again, which are not easy. Come on. In fact, don't push these knobs down all the way. It's unnecessary. It just makes it hard to get them off. So I hope you'll be learning from all my mistakes. You know, it's funny. I've done a lot of things like this, and you read the instructions, and yet there's always things you mess up. All right, I now have this mounted correctly. Okay, in rereading the instructions, it said be sure to orient this correctly. It also said you only really need 2 of the nuts to hold it on this, so you can save a step by not bothering with the other one. So we're now going to install the battery. So I see how these connectors work easily now. I suggest that before you connect these to the saddle, you take a look at the pickup end of these connectors so you can see them and understand how this little flippy thing works, because it's not easy to see them when they're in the saddle. And they're very easy to see here. You can just do this with your finger and flip it down, the little tab. And understanding that would make some sense. And now we're going to mount this in the guitar. And then you can watch me fight with restringing a slot guitar. I have to say, I would not not a fan of stringing the slot guitar, but I do like how they work and look. All right, I'm back. Guitar's restrung, it's plugged in. Same preamp settings directly into Pro Tools. I haven't fooled with the volume. I can already tell you, I think it's louder than it seems to be warmer sounding, but I'm going to try to set up an A-B comparison. So what did I play before? I played with my fingers. Now I've done nothing about balancing these strings. Let's actually see where we're at with it. I'm not sure I want to change the balance at all. Sounding pretty even. The low string might be a little louder, but I'm okay with that. I like that. And this is a pretty even guitar, so it doesn't surprise me. Now, what is the mid contour? Let's see what that is. Adjust the mid contour until the mid frequency from the amplifier sounds the same as the acoustic mid frequency sound. I'll take off my headphones. Appreciate all the adjustability here. I'm not sure there's anything I'm hearing that I want to change, and it's not so difficult to remount this back up later on if I decide it does need an adjustment. So let's try the same thing from the beginning now. What was I doing? We're going to try that with pick wise. Let's see. Boy, I like it. You know, it's always hard to tell until you've used it a while, because you spend money on something and go through trouble of doing it, and you like to think it's for the better, but honestly, I think this is just sounds richer and warmer to me. It sounds a lot more like the guitar sounds unamplified, and I think that's what drove me to try this out, is that I felt like the guitar never sounded as good coming out of a PA system as it did when I just recorded it. In fact, whenever I recorded for albums, I just use microphones, but that's not uncommon anyway. But I never even bothered to record the DI. This I might also record the DI and blend it in. I like it. Let's see what a little picking. What was I doing? Some just progression in G. You know, that single G note right there, that just sounds so good. Well, I'm happy. I have to take it off of here, put it there. I may leave it like this a little bit longer for a day or two just to be sure I don't want to tweak something. I'm going to try it out on some various. I've got a PA system. I may set it up and just make sure that it seems even. But as you saw in the video, I called Paul. I was able to get him on the phone. He talked me through some stuff. Here's what I would say in summary. I skipped a couple of steps because I didn't read carefully. For example, I put this on at first without putting the tape over the guitar. So don't skip that, because if you crank this thing down, you are going to leave a mark on your guitar. Take a good look at the preamp section and try putting those connectors on first. You can disconnect them easily enough. Just lift the tab up with your fingernail, but I think you need to almost say practice and understand how that works, because I found the saddle end kind of confusing, and it's also really easy to slide that ribbon up and get it on top of the connector as opposed to into connector. That's why I went and got magnifying glasses, because I was missing it, and that's not going to do anything. You got to be sure you're in the end of that white connector, and if you're not sure if the tabs are up or down, if you take that end of the adjustment tool, the needle end or the poking end, and put that through from the back side, there's slots for it. If it comes through the other side, the tabs are down, and that's how you want them to be when you put the ribbon in. Then you push them the other direction. So, but yeah, this is a simple setup, and I'm really glad I decided to do it myself. So here's a quick A/B comparison. I went back to what I originally recorded, the ES2, and did my best to kind of play along with it and not play to a click or anything. But coming up, we're going to hear the DI of the ES2. And now switching. So these will be with a pick, the ES2. And the go. So I'm going to let you listen again a little longer this time. This is finger strummed. Notice the ES2, you hear a lot more string noise and slides and squeaks and things I don't particularly want to hear. Pick strumming. My ears, it's a lot warmer. So the Go Acoustic is supposed to be really good at feedback rejection. So I'm in a very small wooden room with this Fender Go, and I'm going to turn this on. This has an LR bags in it. And now I'm just going to set it down here and see what happens. And there we go. So let's try the Go Acoustic now. Let's set it down and see what happens. Okay. Well, that's not a very scientific test, but I can hear it just thinking about starting to ring now. I'm sure it can feedback, but it also was louder plugged in. So there's an unscientific comparison. There you go. The feedback's just starting now. So that's pretty good. And you can stop it immediately putting your hands on it. Just to show you one more time, let me flip it off. Plug plugging this back in again. So I think their claim that they have good feedback rejection is probably valid. You know, I don't play loud, but if you are playing with a band, an acoustic guitar, that probably would be very important to you.